I'm staring through the glass at my son, and he's dying. The machines scream around him, beeping, hissing, counting down the seconds he has left. Baby June. 3 pounds, 4 ounces. Born 6 weeks too early. Born the same moment his mother stopped breathing. The nurses said she had an embolism. 1 minute she was pushing, the next gone. They saved him. They couldn't save her. Now I'm watching him fade too. His chest rises and falls so small under the wires and tubes. His skin is translucent, blue-veined, like paper stretched too thin. The 4 drips nutrition into his bloodstream, but somehow it's not enough. Somehow he keeps losing weight. 0.3 ounces yesterday, 0.4 the day before. I press my palm flat against the incubator. The plastic is warm. Don't leave me too, June, I whisper. Please. Behind me, I hear nurses murmuring. I've learned to hate that sound, that careful, hushed tone they use when they think you can't hear, when they think you don't understand that they've run out of options. We're feeding him, one says. He just can't stay alive. I close my eyes. My name is Sung-hyun Park. I'm 33 years old. I run half the underground money in Seattle, loans, investments, things people don't ask questions about. I've made men twice my size afraid with a single phone call. I've moved millions in cash through networks so complex the feds have been chasing shadows for a decade. But I can't save my son. Dr. Mariana Ellis finds me an hour later in the NICU hallway. She's in her 50s, gray hair pulled back tight, eyes that have seen too many babies slip away. She's holding another file folder, another test result, another dead end. Mr. Park, she says, can we talk? I follow her into the consultation room. Small, beige walls, box of tissues on the table like an accusation. She sits. I don't. The metabolic panel came back, she says. Everything's normal. No enzymatic deficiencies. No absorption disorders. No. Then why is he starving? My voice cracks. I hate that. I hate showing weakness. But Yuna is gone and June is dying and I have nowhere left to hide. You're feeding him. The 4 is working. I can see it going into his veins. So why isn't he growing? Dr. Ellis sets down the folder. Mr. Park, I don't know. 3 words. The worst 3 words in the English language. We've run every test, she continues. Brain scans, genetic workups, ultrasounds of his digestive system. Everything looks normal. His organs are functioning. His reflexes are appropriate for gestational age. But he's not absorbing nutrition efficiently, and we can't figure out why. I lean on the back of the chair, knuckles white. So run more tests. We are. But, she pauses. Doctors don't pause unless they're about to say something terrible. Without identifying the root cause, we're just treating symptoms. And time is running out. How much time? She doesn't answer immediately. That tells me everything. Days? Weeks? I press. I'd like to consult with specialists at Seattle Children's, she says instead. Get fresh eyes on the case. But Mr. Park, you need to prepare yourself for the possibility that... No. I straighten up. You bring in whoever you need. I'll pay for it. Specialists from anywhere, Boston, New York. I don't care. Fly them in tonight. Money isn't the issue. Money is always the issue. I snap. I can get you the best doctors in the world. Just tell me who. Dr. Ellis's expression softens into something I recognize now. Pity. Mr. Park, the best doctors are already here, and they're as confused as I am. I leave before she can see me break. That night, Mincio drives me home in silence. He's been with me for 8 years, driver, bodyguard, the closest thing I have to a friend. He's seen me negotiate deals that would make most people's blood run cold. He's never seen me cry. He sees it now. Hyung, he says quietly, using the honorific even though we're the same age. We'll figure it out. How? I stare out the window at Seattle's lights blurring past. The doctors can't explain it. All their equipment, all their knowledge, useless. Maybe we're asking the wrong people. What does that mean? Mincio pulls up to my building. Luxury high-rise in Belltown, view of the Sound, empty without Yuna. I don't know. Just, sometimes answers come from unexpected places. I don't respond. I'm too tired for platitudes. Upstairs, the apartment echoes. Yuna's art still hangs on the walls. Abstract pieces in blues and golds. Colors, she said, reminded her of the ocean at sunrise. Her last painting sits unfinished on an easel in the corner. She was going to paint June's nursery with waves and clouds. I pour myself 3 fingers of whiskey and stand at the window. Yuna was light. That's the only way I can describe her. She knew what I did, who I was, the blood on the money that paid for everything. She hated it, begged me to walk away, said she wanted our son to grow up in daylight, not shadows. I promised her I would. After he was born, I said, after everything settled. She didn't live long enough to see me keep that promise. Now June might not either. Across town, in a cramped studio apartment in Rainier Valley, Amatembo is wiping down tables at Uhuru Cafe. Her feet ache. Her back aches. Everything aches in that bone-deep way that comes from working doubles 5 days a week. But rent is due in 12 days, and the electricity bill came stamped in red yesterday. So she smiles at the last few customers and pretends she's not exhausted. You need anything else? She asks an older woman nursing cold coffee. I'm good, honey. You look tired. Long day. Amma collects empty plates. But tomorrow's Friday, so. You still in school? Amma's smile freezes for just a second. Not right now. Took a break. It's been 3 years since she took a break. 3 years since she walked away from Northwest State University's pre-med program with a 3.87 GPA and a mountain of debt after her father's cancer ate through their savings. 3 years since she traded anatomy lectures for apron strings and tips that never quite cover what's needed. She was supposed to be a doctor. Now she serves injera and Ethiopian coffee to people who'll never know she can recite the Krebs cycle by heart. The door chimes. Amma looks up, ready to say they're closing in 10 minutes, but it's just Mincio. He's been coming in for months, always polite, tips well, orders the same thing. Doro what extra spicy with 2 sides of gomen. Hey, she says. Usual. Please. He sits at the counter, rubbing his face. He looks rough, eyes red, shoulders slumped. Amma puts in his order. You okay? Long day. Seems to be going around. She pours him water. Anything I can help with? Mincio laughs, but there's no humor in it. Unless you're a miracle worker. Fresh out of those. But I'm a good listener. He studies her for a moment. Amma's used to that look. People trying to figure out if she's trustworthy. She must pass the test, because he sighs and says, My friend's baby is dying. The world tilts slightly. What? Born premature. His wife died during delivery. Now the baby, June, his name's June, he's in the NICU and just fading. They're feeding him, but he keeps losing weight. Doctors can't figure out why. Amma sets down the water pitcher carefully. What do you mean they can't figure out why? They've done every test. Everything comes back normal. But he's starving anyway. Mincio shakes his head. Sung-hyun, my friend, he's going crazy. He'd pay anything, do anything. But money can't buy an answer nobody has. Something clicks in Amma's brain. A switch she hasn't touched in years. Where is he? The baby? Crescent Heights Medical Center. Why? What are his symptoms? Exactly. Mincio blinks. I'm not a doctor. I'm not either, Amma says. But I was close once. Tell me what you know. So he does. Feeds poorly but tries to suck. Gets exhausted quickly. Loses weight despite poor nutrition. All tests normal, metabolic, genetic, imaging. Born at 34 weeks. Mother had no complications until the embolism. Baby presented normally except for the failure to thrive. Amma listens, and her old training wakes up like a sleeping giant. Has anyone checked his mouth? She asks. What? His oral anatomy. Has anyone physically examined inside his mouth? His tongue mobility? Mincio stares. I have no idea. Amma's heart is pounding. I need to see him. You can't just walk into a NICU. Then bring me to someone who can get me in. She leans forward. Mincio, I think I know what's wrong. You're a waitress. I was a fourth-year pre-med student who specialized in neonatal care before my dad got sick. The words spill out fast, urgent. I wrote my senior thesis on failure to thrive in premature infants. If what you're describing is accurate, your friend's son doesn't have a metabolic disorder. He has a mechanical feeding problem. A what? Posterior tongue tie. It's a type of tethered oral tissue that restricts tongue movement. It's rare, easy to miss on standard exams, and it makes proper feeding almost impossible. The baby tries to suck but can't create an effective seal or swallow properly. He wastes so much energy trying to eat that he burns more calories than he takes in. He's literally starving because his tongue won't let him feed. Minsio's expression shifts from skeptical to desperate. You're serious. Completely. And if I'm right, it's fixable. Easily fixable. Amma grabs his arm. But I need to see him. I need someone to do a proper oral exam. Because if they're looking at scans and blood work and missing the most obvious physical diagnosis. I'll talk to Sung-hyun, Minseo says, already standing. Tonight. Amma closes the cafe an hour later, but she doesn't go home. Instead, she runs 6 blocks to her apartment, takes the stairs 3 at a time, and digs through boxes she hasn't opened in years. Med school textbooks, notes, printed articles, everything she couldn't bear to throw away. She finds it, a worn copy of Neonatology Management, Procedures, On-Call Problems. The spine is cracked, pages dog-eared. She flips to chapter 47, Feeding Disorders and Oral Anomalies. There. Page 894. Posterior ankyloglossia, tongue tie often overlooked in routine neonatal examination due to subtle presentation. Characterized by restricted tongue mobility, difficulty latching, frequent feeding interruptions, and failure to thrive despite adequate nutritional provision. Diagnosis requires manual palpation of the sublingual frenulum. Treatment: frenotomy or frenuloplasty. Amma reads it 3 times. Then she pulls out every article she saved on the topic: case studies, diagnostic criteria, surgical outcomes. She's right. She knows she's right. But she's also a college dropout with $60,000 in debt who serves coffee for a living. And she's about to walk into a hospital and tell trained neonatologists they missed something obvious. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. Hello, Ms. Tembo? The voice is male, controlled, with a slight Korean accent. My name is Sung-hyun Park. Minseo tells me you might be able to help my son. Amma's mouth goes dry. Ah yes, maybe. I think so. Can you come to Crescent Heights tomorrow morning? 7 a.m. Yes. Good. A pause. Miss Tembo, my son is dying. If you're wasting my time. I'm not. Her voice steadies. I promise, I'm not. Then I'll see you tomorrow. He hangs up. Amma doesn't sleep that night. She reviews every article, every diagram, every case study. By morning, she's memorized the symptoms, the diagnostic criteria, the surgical procedure, and the outcomes. She showers, dresses in the only professional clothes she owns. Black slacks and a white blouse that still smells faintly of mothballs, and takes 2 buses to Crescent Heights Medical Center. Minseo meets her in the lobby at 6:50 a.m. He's on edge, Minseo warns as they walk. He might be cold. Don't take it personally. I won't. And the doctor, Dr. Ellis. She's protective of her patients. She might not want to hear from a stranger with no credentials? Amma finishes. I know, but if I'm right, she'll listen. They take the elevator to the 4th floor. The NICU is quiet, just the sound of machines and soft voices. Minseo badges them through security, and they walk down a hallway lined with incubators until they reach one in the corner. Sung-hyun is already there. He's younger than Amma expected. Early 30s, sharp features, expensive suit that looks slept in. His eyes are bloodshot. He looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. He also looks at her like she's an insect. You're the waitress, he says. I'm Amma Tembo, she replies evenly. And I think I know what's wrong with your son. You think. I'm confident. She steps closer to the incubator. Baby June is so small, swimming in tubes and wires. But his eyes are open, dark, and aware. Has anyone done a complete oral examination? They've done every examination. Not the same thing. Amma looks at Sung-hyun directly. With respect, Mr. Park, modern medicine loves scans and blood work. But sometimes the answer is simpler. May I see his chart? You're not authorized. Then get Dr. Ellis. Please. Amma doesn't blink. Because if I'm right, your son isn't absorbing wrong. He's feeding wrong. And we're wasting time arguing about my credentials when we could be fixing the problem. Something flickers in Sung-hyun's expression. Doubt? Hope? He pulls out his phone. I'm calling her. Dr. Ellis arrives 12 minutes later, looking suspicious. Mr. Park, I don't know what you've heard, but bringing in someone without medical credentials. Just listen to her. Sung-hyun interrupts. Please. Dr. Ellis turns to Amma. You have 2 minutes. Amma takes a breath. June is premature but developmentally appropriate. His organs are functioning. All metabolic panels are normal. But he's failing to thrive despite adequate caloric provision via 4 and attempted oral feeds. Is that accurate? Yes. Does he become exhausted during feeding attempts? Does he suck but fail to extract efficiently? Dr. Ellis's eyes narrow. How did you? Because you're missing a diagnosis. Amma points to the incubator. He has a posterior tongue tie. His lingual frenulum is too tight and positioned too far back. It's restricting his tongue mobility, which prevents him from creating the suction and wave-like motion necessary for effective feeding. He's burning more calories trying to eat than he's consuming. That's why the 4 isn't enough. He's metabolically compensating for the energy expenditure. Silence. That's. Dr. Ellis starts. That's a very specific diagnosis. It fits all the symptoms, Amma says, and it's easily confirmed with a manual examination. Lift his tongue. Feel for a tight band of tissue connecting the underside of his tongue to the floor of his mouth. If it's there and it's restricting his range of motion, that's your answer. Dr. Ellis looks at Sung-hyun, then back at Amma. Who are you? Someone who noticed what you missed, Amma says quietly. Will you check? Dr. Ellis's jaw tightens. Then she turns to a nurse. Gloves. They scrub in. The nurse opens the incubator carefully. June starts to cry. A thin, weak sound that makes Sung-hyun flinch. Dr. Ellis gently lifts the baby's tongue with a gloved finger. Her expression changes immediately. Oh my God, she breathes. What? Sung-hyun moves closer. What is it? There's a frenulum attachment. Dr. Ellis probes carefully. Posterior, class 4. It's... How did we miss this? Because you weren't looking for it, Amma says, and there's no triumph in her voice. Just relief. It doesn't show on imaging. You have to feel for it. Dr. Ellis pulls back, staring at Amma. You were pre-med? 4th year. Specialized focus on neonatal care. And you diagnosed this from a second-hand description? I've seen it before. In case studies. Amma looks at June. Can you fix it? It's a simple procedure, Dr. Ellis says slowly. A frenotomy. We can do it here now with local anesthetic. 5 minutes. She turns to Sung-hyun. Mr. Park, your son has been starving because he physically can't feed properly. But this we can fix. Sung-hyun's knees buckle. He catches himself on the incubator, and for a moment Amma thinks he might fall. When he looks up, there are tears streaming down his face. So he's not dying? His voice breaks completely. You're saying he's not dying? Starving isn't the same as dying, Amma says gently. Not when we can treat the cause. Sung-hyun covers his face with his hands and sobs. 20 minutes later, they perform the frenotomy. It's quick. A sterile scissors, 1 careful snip, a droplet of blood. June screams, then settles. A nurse offers a bottle. He latches. He drinks. He doesn't choke, doesn't pull away, doesn't stop. The machines stabilize. His heart rate evens out. His oxygen saturation holds steady. Dr. Ellis watches with wide eyes. He's actually feeding. Sung-hyun stands with his forehead pressed against the incubator glass, both hands flat against the plastic. He's whispering something in Korean, prayers or promises. Amma can't tell. Thank you, he chokes out without turning around. Thank you for noticing. Amma feels her own eyes burning. I'm glad I could help. She leaves quietly while the nurses monitor June's vitals. Mincio catches her in the hallway. Hey, he says. Where are you going? Home. Work. I have a shift in 3 hours. Amma. He touches her arm. You just saved that kid's life. Dr. Ellis saved his life. I just pointed her in the right direction. Amma pulls away gently. I'm nobody, Mincio. I'm not a doctor. I don't have credentials. I got lucky reading the right textbook years ago. That's all. That's not. I have to go. She walks toward the elevator before he can argue. Before Sung-hyun can come out and thank her again. Before anyone can ask questions she can't answer about why she's not in medical school, why she's wasting her brain on coffee orders, why she gave up. She makes it to the bus stop before she starts crying. Over the next week, June transforms. He gains weight 2 ounces, then 8. His color improves. His strength returns. The machines come off one by one until he's just a baby in an incubator, sleeping and eating and growing like babies should. Dr. Ellis writes up the case for a medical journal. Missed diagnosis of posterior ankyloglossia in failure to thrive neonate. The importance of comprehensive oral examination. She mentions Amma in the acknowledgments. Sung-hyun reads the draft and realizes he never got Amma's last name. He has Mincio track her down. Uhuru Cafe, Rainier Valley. Mincio reports. She's working there full-time. I asked around. She left Northwest State 3 years ago when her dad got sick. Cancer. He died 6 months later. She's been trying to pay off medical bills ever since. Sung-hyun sits with that information for a long time. She saved June's life, he says finally. Yeah. And she's serving coffee. Yeah. Find her. I want to talk to her. Amma is closing the cafe when Sung-hyun walks in. She recognizes him immediately. He's not someone you forget. We're closed, she says automatically. I know. I wanted to apologize. He stays by the door, hands in his pockets. For how I treated you at the hospital. I was scared, grieving. I understand. That's not an excuse. He steps closer. You saved my son's life, and I was rude to you. I'm sorry. Amma wipes down the last table. How is he? Gaining weight. Getting stronger. They're talking about discharge next week. That's wonderful. Because of you. Because of Dr. Ellis. Because you wouldn't look away. Sung-hyun's voice is firm. Everyone else did. All those doctors with their machines and tests, they looked at everything except the obvious. But you saw it. Why? Amma stops cleaning. Because I know what it's like to be invisible. To be right in front of people and still be missed. She meets his eyes. Your son was screaming for help in the only way he could. Someone had to hear him. They stand in silence for a moment. Can I buy you dinner? Sung-hyun asks. Why? Because I want to say thank you properly. And because he hesitates. Because I'd like to know more about the person who saved my son. Amma almost says no. She has bills to pay, shifts to work, a life that doesn't include dinner with wealthy men whose babies she happened to diagnose correctly. But there's something in his expression, genuine curiosity, maybe even respect, that makes her reconsider. Okay, she says. But somewhere cheap. I'm buying my half. They go to a Vietnamese place down the street. Sung-hyun orders pho. Amma orders spring rolls and works through them methodically while he asks questions. Why did you leave medical school? My dad got sick. Stage 4 colon cancer. Someone had to be there, and my mom died when I was 14, so. She shrugs. I took a leave of absence. Then the bills came. Then he died anyway. Then I had $60,000 in debt and no degree to show for it. Why not go back? With what money? I make $11.50 an hour plus tips. After rent and food and loan payments, I'm lucky to break even. She dips a spring roll in peanut sauce. Besides, they don't just let you waltz back in after 3 years. I'd have to reapply, retake classes, prove I'm still capable. That takes time and money I don't have. What if you did have it? Amma looks up sharply. What? What if money wasn't an obstacle? Would you go back? Mr. Park. Sung Hyun. Sung Hyun. She sets down her chopsticks. If you're about to offer to pay for medical school, don't. I don't need charity. It's not charity. He struggles for words. My son is alive because you wouldn't look away. You're brilliant. You're wasted serving coffee. Let me help you finish what you started. No. Why not? Because I don't know you. Because money always has strings. Because... She stops. Because people don't just do things like that. Not for strangers. You did. Sung Hyun says quietly. You helped my son, and you didn't know us. You didn't ask for anything in return. You just did what needed to be done. He leans forward. I'm offering you the same thing. No strings. No expectations. Just a chance to go back to school and become the doctor you were supposed to be. Amma feels something crack open inside her chest. Hope, maybe. Or fear. They feel the same. I'll think about it, she whispers. That's all I ask. She thinks about it for 3 days. Weighs the risks, the implications, the ways this could go wrong. Researches Sung Hyun online and finds exactly what she expected. Rumors of underground finance, careful legitimacy, connections that make powerful people nervous. He's dangerous. He's complicated. He's also telling the truth. On the 4th day, she calls him. Okay, she says. I'll do it, but I'm keeping records of every dollar. I'll pay you back. You don't have to. I do. This is a loan, not a gift. Understood. A pause. Then, understood. And I'm doing this my way. No interference, no pressure, no expectations that I don't know, owe you something other than money. Agreed. Okay then. Amma takes a breath. Thank you, Sung Hyun. Thank you, Amma, for everything. She re-enrolls at Northwest State 2 months later. The admissions committee is skeptical. A 3-year gap is significant. But her old transcripts and a letter from Dr. Ellis tip the scales. She's back as a 5th-year pre-med, 1 year behind where she left off. But it doesn't matter. She's back. The first year is brutal. She works mornings at the cafe, attends classes and labs in the afternoon, studies until midnight, sleeps 4 hours, and does it again. Sung Hyun pays her tuition and living expenses through a carefully structured loan with reasonable interest rates and no payment schedule until after graduation. He also starts visiting. At first it's practical, dropping off textbooks she mentioned needing, bringing food when he knows she's too busy to eat. Then it becomes social. Coffee between her classes. Lunch on Saturdays. Long conversations about medicine and ethics and the ways people survive impossible things. He tells her about Yuna, about their marriage, how she was an artist, how she saw beauty in everything, how she hated the shadows he worked in, how she made him want to be better. She wanted June to grow up in daylight, he says one afternoon, staring at his coffee. She didn't want him to know what his father did to pay for things. She wanted him clean. Are you? Amma asks. Clean. I'm trying. He looks at her. I've been selling off holdings. Legitimizing what I can, walking away from what I can't. It's slow. Dangerous. But, he exhales. Yuna died asking me to change. I can't do it for her anymore. But I can do it for June. And maybe for myself. Amma reaches across the table and squeezes his hand briefly. That takes courage. Or stupidity. Sometimes they're the same thing. June gets discharged from the NICU at 6 weeks old. Sung Hyun brings him home to an apartment that still echoes with Yuna's absence. He hires a night nurse, reads baby books, learns to change diapers and warm bottles and recognize different cries. Amma visits on weekends. She teaches him feeding cues, how June roots when he's hungry, how his tongue moves now that it's free, how to tell when he's had enough. She shows him how to burp properly, how to support his head, how to read his tiny signals. You're good at this, Sung Hyun says, watching her cradle June against her shoulder. I had good training. I meant with him, with babies. He pauses. You'll be an incredible pediatrician. Amma looks down at June, who's drooling on her scrubs. I hope so. The months blur into years. Amma finishes her 5th year, then 6th. Takes the MCAT again, scores in the 98th percentile. Applies to medical schools and gets accepted to 3, chooses Northwest State to stay close. Sung-hyun transforms his operations completely. He sells the illegal holdings to competitors, invests in legitimate logistics and real estate. Costs him money, connections, safety, but he does it anyway. For Yuna, for June, for the version of himself he wants to become. And somewhere in the process, slowly and without either of them quite meaning to, he and Amma fall in love. It's not sudden. It's not dramatic. It's organic, natural, built on late-night conversations and shared exhaustion and the intimacy of watching each other become better versions of themselves. Amma fights it at first. The power imbalance, the obligation, the way people might see it. Woman sleeps with the man funding her education. Feels wrong even when it doesn't feel wrong. I'm not your charity case, she tells him one night after he kisses her for the first time. I know. And I'm not going to be some trophy or project. Amma, he cups her face. You're the most extraordinary person I've ever met. You saved my son's life. You're brilliant and stubborn and you see things other people miss. I'm not falling in love with you because I'm funding your education. I'm falling in love with you because you're you. She kisses him back. This is complicated. I know. And people will judge. Let them. They take it slow anyway. Date properly, dinners, movies, walks around Green Lake with June in a stroller. Sung-hyun introduces her to his world carefully, gauging reactions, protecting her from the people who might see her as a weakness. Amma introduces him to her world, her classmates, her study groups, the cafe where she still picks up shifts for pocket money. Minseo, predictably, is thrilled. I told you, he says to Sung-hyun. I told you she was special. You told me she made good Doro what? Same thing. When Sung-hyun proposes, he does it quietly. No grand gestures, no public displays. Just the two of them in his apartment after June's gone to sleep, standing in the kitchen where Yuna's last painting still hangs on the wall. I love you, he says, and I want to build a life with you. But I need you to know Yuna will always be part of this. She's June's mother. She made me want to be better. I can't erase her. I don't want you to, Amma replies. She sounds like she was wonderful. She was. Then we'll honor her. Together. Amma takes his hand. I'm not trying to replace her, Sung-hyun. I'm just trying to love you and June the best way I know how. Is that a yes? That's a yes. They marry in a small ceremony, just close friends, Minseo as best man, a few of Amma's classmates. Sung-hyun puts a photo of Yuna on the altar, next to the flowers. When they exchange vows, he promises to live in daylight. Amma promises to keep noticing the things others miss. June, 3 years old and squirmy, knocks over the unity candle. Everyone laughs. Medical school continues. Amma finishes top of her class, matches into a pediatric residency at Crescent Heights, the same hospital where she saved June. She specializes in neonatology, drawn to the tiny patients who can't speak for themselves. Dr. Ellis becomes her mentor. You were right, Ellis says during Amma's first week. About everything. The profession needs more people like you. People who look beyond the obvious. You taught me that, Amma says. When you listen to a waitress with no credentials because she might be right. Best decision I ever made. 5 years pass. Amma completes her residency, then a fellowship in neonatal perinatal medicine. She becomes Dr. Amma Tembo Park, neonatologist. Returns to Crescent Heights NICU as an attending physician. Her first solo case is a premature infant, 32 weeks, failing to thrive, every test coming back normal. The staff is baffled. The parents are terrified. Amma reviews the chart, examines the baby, and asks for gloves. She lifts the baby's tongue carefully. They're a tight posterior frenulum restricting movement. Tongue tie, she says calmly. Class 4 posterior. We can fix it today. The attending nurse stares. How did you spot that? Amma performs the frenotomy with steady hands. The baby cries, then latches to a bottle greedily, drinking without struggle for the first time in weeks. The parents cry in relief. The nurses look impressed. How did you see that? The nurse asks again. Amma smiles. Because someone once taught me to look twice. 10 years after June's diagnosis, Amma opens a pediatric feeding and lactation clinic in Rainier Valley. It serves immigrant families, low-income patients, anyone who falls through the cracks of the mainstream medical system. She hires interpreters, accepts sliding scale payments, does home visits for families who can't travel. Sung-hyun funds it, not as a loan this time, as an investment in the community. His logistics company is thriving, completely legitimate now, employing hundreds of people in good jobs with benefits. He's clean. He's built a life in daylight. June, 15 years old, volunteers at the clinic after school. He files patient charts, helps with translations for Korean-speaking families, learns medical terminology. He's bright and healthy and loud, with his mother's artistic eye and his father's careful mind. He doesn't remember the NICU, doesn't remember the machines or the starvation or how close he came to dying. But he knows the story. They've told him, Sung-hyun and Amma both, about the diagnosis that saved his life, about the waitress who wouldn't look away. Do you ever think about it? He asks Amma one afternoon while organizing files. About how different things would be if you hadn't figured it out? Amma looks at him, this tall, healthy teenager who exists because she read the right textbook at the right time. Every day, she says honestly. That's heavy. It's also beautiful. Your life, it's proof that noticing matters, that seeing people matters, that sometimes the answer is right in front of us if we're brave enough to look. June considers this. Is that why you opened this clinic? To keep noticing? Exactly. On the clinic's 5-year anniversary, Amma speaks to a crowd of patients, donors, and community members. Sung-hyun and June sit in the front row. Yuna's photograph hangs on the wall behind the reception desk. Amma put it there on opening day. When I was 25, Amma says, I thought my life was over. I'd left medical school, my father had died, and I was drowning in debt with no way out. I served coffee and pretended I was fine with dreams that died. She pauses, finds Sung-hyun's eyes. Then I met a baby who was starving, and I remembered something important. Miracles don't always look like thunder. Sometimes they look like a child finally able to eat. Sometimes they look like a single diagnosis changing everything. Sometimes they look like people refusing to give up on each other. The crowd applauds. June whistles. Sung-hyun's eyes are bright with tears. After the speech, after the ceremony, after the last guests leave, the three of them walk outside into evening sunlight. Sung-hyun takes Amma's hand. June walks ahead, already talking about colleges, about maybe studying medicine himself. You did it, Sung-hyun murmurs. Everything you dreamed. We did it, Amma corrects. All of us. Together. He kisses her temple. Yuna would be proud. I hope so. That night, Amma returns to Crescent Heights for an evening shift in the NICU. She walks past the incubators, checking charts, consulting with nurses. A new case has just arrived. Another premature infant. Another mystery. She reviews the intake notes, then gloves up. Lifts the baby's tongue. Finds a restriction. Posterior tongue tie, she tells the relieved resident. Common, treatable, easy to miss. How did you practice? Amma smiles. And a good teacher who told me once that the obvious answer is sometimes the right one. She performs the phrenotomy. The baby feeds. Another life saved by paying attention. Outside, through the NICU windows, Sung-hyun and June wait in the parking lot. They're framed by the last light of evening. No shadows left, just the golden glow of sunset. Amma finishes her rounds, signs off her charts, and heads out to meet them. From a misdiagnosis to a life built in daylight. From a dying baby to a thriving teenager. From a lost dream to a career saving the invisible patients no one else sees. She walks out into the evening. Sung-hyun pulls her close. June tells a joke that isn't funny but makes them both laugh anyway. And somewhere in the hospital behind them, another baby drinks greedily for the first time. Tiny fist curled tight around hope that someone finally noticed. Silent hunger ends not in tragedy, but in triumph. Not in loss, but in love. The end. If the story moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next emotional journey. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that sometimes the smallest act of noticing can change everything. What did you think of Ama and Sunghyun's story? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.